Kal Kadosh, Boker Or. We're just going to give you now this morning, the basics of the Talmud Yerushalmi. Okay? Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Ben Rabban Shimon ben Rabban Gamliel Diyavne, Ben Rabban Shimon, Shaya min Asara Arugei Malchut, that he was from the Asara Arugei Malchut, Ben Rabban Gamliel HaZaken, Ben Rabbi Shimon, Ben Hillel HaZaken. You remember that was the going up, right? We had this chart, no, but this is the best chart of that. That basically that you went through the. I'm going to buy a big chart for you. Here, you see Hillel, Rabban Shimon, Ben Hillel, Rabban Gamliel Zaken, Rabban Shimon, the 10 martyrs, right? Rabban Gamliel. So that's what you have the Rabban Shimon, Rabban Gamliel Zaken, Rabban Gamliel, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, that's here. And then you have Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Okay? So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi going back all the way to Hillel Zaken. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's the sixth one up. Okay?
These are translating the Torah. This is not son of.
Son of. They were all Nesi'im.
Son
Of Hillel. Depends which one. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the son of the Rashbag, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. And Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was the son of Rabbi Gamliel. And Rabbi Gamliel was of Rabbi Shimon. Right? And then Rabbi Shimon was the son of Rabbi Gamliel HaZaken. Gamliel HaZaken was the son of Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon ben Hillel, and then Hillel. So you had all the way up. Okay? All the generations. Hillel comes from David HaMelech. Yeah? Also. Right? Hillel is from David HaMelech. So he comes and he says like this. He says, Rabbi Gamliel HaZaken and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel שעלה מבבל, right? That he went up from Bavel 100 שנה לפני חורבן בית שני. 100 years before בית שני. ובני בטרה מסרו לו הנשיאות. They gave him the service. Why? Because he was מזרע מלכות בית דוד. והוא למד אצל אביו and he learned from his father ואצל רשב"י, right? ואצל עוד, מתלמידי רבי עקיבא. The father of no, not Hillel. This is talking about now Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi learned from his father, right? And then he says, and he also learned from other students of Rabbi Akiva, by the Rashbi and others. כאשר שהצליח השם את דרכו, וכי אהוב מאוד אצל אנטונינוס ולחלומי, ראה לסדר המשנה, וישב כל ימיו הוא בדינו ולמדו אותו ברבים. They went and they did the Mishnah. So the truth is, one of the reasons why they were able to do the Mishnah was because he had protexia by the government. Remember, who was his best friend? The emperor. Antoninus was the emperor, and he was what? This is no. This is in Eretz Israel, right? But this is in Rome. Okay, so let's start. That was the Mishnah of the Talmud Yerushalmi. Now we're actually going to start Talmud Yerushalmi. Talmud de Bnei Ma'arav, right? The Talmud of Bnei Ma'arav, right? What's Bnei Ma'arav? Of the West, because remember, if you're in Bavel, so the West is Eretz Israel. That's why in the Gemara of Bavli, it's always written, right, that they taught in Ma'arava, in the West. You're looking west. The west is Israel, as Eretz Israel. Okay, so Talmud de Bnei Ma'arava, Hanoda lanu Talmud Yerushalmi, which is known to us as the Talmud Yerushalmi or Talmud Eretz Israel, one or the other. We usually call it nowadays the Talmud Yerushalmi, but it's also Talmud Eretz Israel. לפי שהוא לא נתחבר, right, בירושלים, right? He says, כי מימות החורבן אסרה להם מלכות רומי להתאסף חכמים ולקבוע ישיבו בירושלים. They prohibited learning in public in Yerushalayim. Right? So therefore, right, Rabbi Yochanan bar Yitzchak Nafcha, מצעירי תלמידי רבנו הקדוש. So Rabbi Yochanan, right, bar Yitzchak Nafcha, right, he was the צעירי תלמידי רבנו הקדוש. חיברו יחד עם גיסו ריש לקיש. So they did it together with Rish Lakish, עם האמוראים לשישה דורות, right, for 6 generations, which means when you come and you take Talmud Yerushalmi, this is Eretz Yisrael. So it's here, Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish. That's why you remember we said that Talmud Eretz Yisrael was around 100 and something years before Talmud Bavli. Why? Because if you pay over here, Talmud Yerushalmi was 4128. Talmud Bavli was 4260. Why? Because Talmud Yerushalmi was up here. Right? Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Talmud Bavli was here. Yeah. Talmud Yerushalmi. Okay, that's why. So therefore, that's why here's Ravina Ravashi coming from all these people. So you had a few generations, right? Of course, because the Rish Lakish is also an Gemara, and Rabbi Yochanan is also an Gemara. You had also people from Ravami and Ravasi. They were also in Eretz Yisrael. Rav Chia, right? All these people, Rav Yirmiyah, they were in Eretz Yisrael, but they were also brought down in the Bavli.
talking about Rish Lakish non-stop.
100%.
How is that?
Why not? Because at the end of the day, everything that they taught was also brought to the Talmud Bavli. Yerushalmi was first.
So they brought the Yerushalmi, the books to the Yerushalmi to
They probably also brought
they
it.
used it to
Yeah.
compose the
Bavli. So now he comes and he says like this: "B'ne'aruto haya bekesrin." Right? This is talking about now when Rabbi Yochanan bar Yitzchak Nafcha. Right? He was in Naruto, he was in Kesarim. ושימש שם את רב הושע רבא ורבי ינאי ורב חנינא. ואחר כך עלה לטבריה, וזמן קצר לפני פטירת רבי קבע שם ישיבתו. He put his yeshiva there. Right? ונהיית טבריה עיקר בדבד לחכמים. And since Tveria was the עיקר בדבד of חכמים, right? אשר עמדה בתוקפה עד חתימת התלמוד ירושלמי בשנת קכ"ח לאלף הרביעי, which is going to be 4,128. 4128. Okay? Until you were clear? Right? ורבי יוחנן האריך ימים, כי 80 שנה מלך אחר רבי חנינא. He was 80 years after רבי חנינא, שהיה אחר רב אפס, right? שהיה אחר רבנו הקדוש, זיכרונם לברכה. So it means רבי יוחנן had long life. Okay? תוכן אחד יש לשני התלמודים. Right? It's the same thing, both of the Gemarot. אם לפרש המשנה והברייתא, to explain the משניות and the ברייתות. או לברר ההלכות שנתחדשו המוראים, or to be מחדש the חידושים and the מוראים, בדרך הוכחה, או על פי סברה נכונה. ובזה יבדלו שניהם הירושלמי דרכו על פי רוב, לקצר בדרך ההיגיון הפשוט, בלי לפרש סתומים, ולפעמים אינו מעיר כלל שיש חיסרון במשנה. So he says the Yerushalmi is very different than the Bavli in the fact that it doesn't. It's sometimes very tsatum. It's very mikatzer, right? It's very katzar. That's why they say. That's why they say that the Bavli, the Yerushalmi is much more difficult than Yerushalmi. It's much more mikatzer in the derech ha'yiriyon. It doesn't explain the stumim, and sometimes it doesn't even say that the Mishnah is lacking things, right? How many times does it happen that the Bavli says, we're lacking the Mishnah, and really you had to say this and this and that. You understand? Now we know why they did that, right? Right? Many times, if you remember, I actually brought you down that they used to sing the Mishnayot. Since they used to sing the Mishnayot, like we sing the Pirkei Avot, many times if it didn't fit in the song, they would take it out.
In Israel?
Right? No, the Mishnayot. Mishnayot is before Yerushalmi. Mishnayot is Mishnayot. So that's why there's a unit. I think it's I forgot now who it was on the Mishnayot, where he actually explains, I think it's Yachinu Vaz, right? That he explains that's the reason why many Mishnayot says Chasure Mechzera ve'achi ktani. We were lacking part of the Mishnah, and this is the way that you're supposed to read it. Why? Because we always wanted it to fit part of the song. Right? So how do you know that there was a song? Because we ourselves, we have the songs. Pirkei Avot has a song. But Malikin has a song. It's a song. There's a tune to it. Yeah? No, but Shir Shivim is not a Mishnah. That's a Megillah.
That's the rhyme, so they
Yeah.
They
rounded it off in order to make sure that it fits the songs. It was a song. By the way, you should know, that's also how you remember. You know, I had a boy, right, that I had to teach him bar mitzvah, that he had learning disability, right? So I remember the father came to me and he goes to me, listen, if you know, even if you do an aliyah, whatever it is, you know, Bezat Hashem, you know, like kilo, we're more than happy. Yeah, I did with him 6 out of the 7 aliyot. I was almost going to push for the 7th aliyah, but I didn't want him to feel disgusted in it, because then it would have been like cramped at the end. But he did 6 aliyot of the Torah. Now, why? Because I didn't teach him that you have to read the word. I taught it to him as a song. So, for example, right, you know, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz, Megurei Aviv be'eretz, Kena'an ele, Toledot Yaakov Yosef. I taught it to him as a song. When you do it as a song, you can know it by heart. Because if I'm going to tell him read the word Toledot, what?
Is it asur to read the Torah by heart?
Yes, read the Torah there, yes. The Torah out there, yes. But I'm teaching it to him by heart in order to learn with the song. So I would come and I would teach him a pasuk, and then I told him, read it inside. And then he would read it inside. But if you come and you tell him, read inside, the word Toledot will take him a minute to read.
Did he even know it's Aleph Bet or no?
No, he knew Aleph Bet, but it would be very difficult for him to read. So it would be Toledot. No. Now that you know Toledot Yaakov. It's a 2-second thing. But if you understand, Achash Tarpenim, Yeah, by the time you take the word and you read Achash Dar Penin, you have a problem. But if I teach it to you as the song Achash Dar Penin, right? Achash Dar Penin ve'apachot. I tell you, say it 3 times. Achash Dar Penin ve'apachot. Well, now when you read it, it's quick. But it's a song. Songs you remember. You understand? Songs you remember. Songs is something completely different. I had a person in my class that used to stutter. Yeah, but when he would sing songs, he wouldn't stutter. Huh? Okay, I'm gonna read some.
We learn Talmud Bavli instead of Yerushalmi?
Yes, because of this.
It's not
No. The Chazon Yisrael is on the Mishnayot, but the Bavli is more explicit. The Bavli explains more. It's more Al-Pi Gayon. So we accepted upon ourselves the Bavli. Okay?
So why, חס וחלילה לא להגיד לגנוז, but why there is Yerushalmi?
So now he comes and he says like this. He says, right? Mashenke Talmud Bavli darko la'arich. It goes long. Shakla v'tarya, dinim alekashim, amukim. They come and they start making like deep things. V'lifamim liyashev b'derech asur meksara v'chadome. Right? Agam sheshneim meleim agata, even though they're both full of agata. Omnam b'Bavli, hem aba'im b'mlitzot shonim v'lifamim eno muvan klal. Right? So he comes and he says, וכן הדבר עם הסגולות והרפואות, שהם הזרות ונסתרות רחוק מן הטבע, ולמתו בירושלמי יותר מובנן. They're more actually explained. אולם, however though, right, he says שלפעמים מצינו להפך, the opposite, שיש בירושלמי חידות נוראות, things which don't make sense, וזה מפני שישנם דברים שעיקרם בירושלים. יש כמה סיבות לסתימות בירושלים, בירושלמי, וזה מפני שיודעים מפורסמים היה עניין בין החכמים תלמידיהם בארץ ישראל. Right? וחשבן לשפת יתר לעלותם לספר. Meaning there were certain things that were so pashut in Eretz Yisrael, they didn't even think about writing it down. So for them it was like pashut, so they didn't write it down. אבל רבים מהם שלא מצאו החכמים את ידיהם לסדרם כראוי, מרוב צרותיהם, because of their צרות, שלחו שם ממלכותיהם, they had a lot of wars there, ורק הצילו את אשר מצא כאשר הם, they tried to save as much as they could, והיה עוד הרבה מגילות של פירושים אשר נעבדו בימים ההם, ולכן נשאר הרבה משניות בלי תלמוד. That's why there's a lot of mishnayot without Talmud Yerushalmi. Right? That means that's why you have less Yerushalmi. I don't think they have Vikavot. Yeah, but anyway, that's only Mishnayot. But the Vikavot anyways is only Mishnayot. There's no Gemara. But not in neither or. Neither or Mishnayot or Gemara. So it says here, Pirush Klal, right? Velo od ela shelo nishal lanu af pirush echad shalem miuchad lacham yachel ke Yerushalmi. Meaning there's not one explanation on the entire Yerushalmi. You know, on the Bavli, you've got the Tosafot, you've got Rashi, you've got this, you've got that, and then you have other explanations that are different ones on each Mesechet. Here, you don't have one Pirush on the entire Yerushalmi. No, for sure not.
It's just the daf.
It's the Daf. No, you have a Kurban Haedah, Pnei Moshe, you've got other people here, but it's not Rashi. So he says, "Uvezeh yitpaer rabu hashkiyot v'shibushim al yedei hamadpisim bli biurim lezatam." That's why you have so many mistakes. ואף התלמוד בבלי שנמשך סדרו עוד right, עד הגאונים הראשונים לא השקיפו בכל זה סדרו התומו. Right? בסיבות הגזרות והרדיפות של פרסיים שעשו בישראל בסוף ימי המורים ורבנן סבוראי, וביותר אלו, right, המסכתות שלא היה בהן צורך, right, שעתן חוץ מסדרי קודשים, ספר קודשים, שנימוק זה לקחו עוז להציל, לפי שאמרו חז"ל, כל העוסק בתורת הקורבנות, כאילו מקריבים ולכן ניצלו. That means קודשים, they made sure to do by the Bavli. Right? But a lot of tarot, think about it, tarot. What do you have in Gemara? Out of tarot, what do you have?
What do you say?
You've got nida.
The Bavli.
Nida, right? That's the tarot. Take tarot. Look here in tarot. Tarot krach aleph. You've got kelim. There's no Gemara on kelim. Tarot krach bet. Kelim. There's no. Then you have tarot mikvaot. There's no Gemara on mikvaot. There's no Gemara on negaim. Not on para. Not on aolot. Not on zavim. Tfulyom. Yadayim. Uksim. Right? Machshirin. The only one Gemara you have in Bavli on Tarot. Tarot is the last one of the 6 Sidrei Mishnah, correct? You got Zman Nakat, Zraim, Moed, Nashim, right? Nezikin, Kodshim, Tarot. Zman Nakat. You're taking the time with you. Zman, Zain, Zraim, which is all to do with the seeds and the planting. Moed is Moadim, right? Nun, Nashim, anything to do with women. Nizikin, damages, Babakama, Babatra, Bametzi, all the things like that, right? And you have Kuf, Kodshim. Kodshim is all to do with the Korbanot. That's what we're doing now. Zvachim, Menachot, that's Kodshim. And the Tet is Tarot. The only one Gemara you have on all of Tarot is Nida. Masech Nida. That's it. That's it. So, and in Kodshim, so Yerushalmi, you don't even have all those things. You don't have everything. So on Kodshim, they did try to get everything that they could. If you come and you take Kodshim, you have Zvachim, you have a Gemara. Menachot Gemara, Chulin Gemara, Bechorot Gemara, Erechim Gemara, Tmura Gemara, Kritut Gemara. Tamid, there's a Gemara. Midot, there's Gemarot. Kirim, there's not. Right? But why are there Gemarot? Right? The reason why there's Gemarot is because since it's anybody that learns the Korbanot, anybody that learns about the Korbanot, it's Kiru that they brought the Korbanot. That's why they made sure to make Gemarot on the Korbanot. So they made sure that means even though it didn't apply nowadays, they did it. The same thing was Berachot. Berachot is the only Masechet in all of Zraim. That means you have an entire Zraim. So you start, it starts with Berachot, but then it has Peah, Demai, Kilaim, Shvi'it, Trumot, Masrot, right? Maaser Sheni, Chala, Orla, Bikurim. All of those things, only Mishnayot. There's only one Gemara, Berachot. So you do one Gemara Berachot, you finish Berachot, boom, next Seder.
That's in Bavli.
That's in Bavli. Also in Yerushalmi. Right? Yerushalmi does not have more than Bavli.
So
Right? It's got less.
So when Mashiach comes, how are we supposed to know how to deal with all
You got the Mishnayot, and the Mishnayot, sometimes you have the Rambam, right? The Rambam will bring down in the whole, whatever it is.
But isn't the Masorah
You
too
see
far?
the Bavli, the one